YouTube, what's going on? Anthony from Hellboard Productions here to answer a very, very serious question that's been plaguing our sport for quite some time. I see a lot of this on Facebook pages. I see a lot of this on different events and things like that. The question that everyone always seems to want to ask and want to justify is paintball a sport? It's a difficult question to getting, so I'm sure I'm going to ruffle feathers from somebody, but it won't be from my paintball community, I can promise you that. First off, let me just say that this video is not for the people that don't care. This video is not for the people who are like, yo, I don't care, I'm just going to go out and do my thing. Cool, man. I want to go out there and just do my thing. This video is going to be for people who really take a strong amount of offense to this, and sometimes I do. When people really get into it with me, I do take a little bit of offense to it. I don't play a little girl's game. I play something that hurts, that causes bruises and bumps, and it's a sport to me. But we're going to get into it. And first thing that people tend to tell me is maybe it's a sport, but it's not a real sport. It's not a real sport. Paintball's not a real sport. What's a real sport? That's like when, for instance, I'm a bartender. When someone comes up to me and says, "Why don't you get a real job?" I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? I make mad cash. I think I have a real job, and I make mad loot doing it. So I think I have a real job." So let's break into it. What it means to be a real sport. First thing that I think you need to have a real sport is you need to have a defense. You have to have something that's stopping you from doing what you want to do. And in paintball, that's the other team. It could be a scenario game where you have an entire army on the other side of you that's trying to stop you from accomplishing a goal. Or if you're playing speedball, like I try to play as much as possible, you have the other team. It could be 5-man, could be 7-man, 10-man, doesn't matter. You need a playing field. Baseball has their baseball diamond. Football has a football field. We have either whatever scenario you're playing in. Could be a fort, could be a castle, could be a junkyard like we play sometimes. On the speedball field, it's your speedball field. Air bunkers and snakes and Doritos and all good things like that. So, if your real sport has a field, so does mine. You need scoring, so you have to be able to keep score. I'm not one of those people who believe that everybody should win. Somebody needs to lose. So, there's scoring. Scenario games, they have, the winner who makes the most accomplishments, who captures the most objectives. Speedball field, you have a point scoring system where you have, how many flags you hang in PSP. So there's a scoring. If your sport has scoring, so does mine. You need a means of scoring. You need to be able to have refs on the field, people who are preventing you from cheating. Your sport has that, so does mine. Rules. Obviously every game has rules, every sport has rules. Football has their set of rules, paintball has their set of rules. You have to get out when you're hit, but only when the paint breaks on you, not when it bounces. You have to have a certain number of players on the field. If your game has rules, so does mine. And gear. Baseball teams have their bats and their helmets, football players have their helmets and their pads. We have our mask, we have our marker, and that's just about all you need to walk on that field. If you walk out there on the field with no pods, a pair of sweatpants and a pair of busted up sneakers, you can still play that game. If you walk out on the football field with a pair of sneakers, you're probably going to get hurt. Probably not going to be able to compete. Another thing that leads me into is possibility for injuries. I've played a lot of sports. My entire time in high school was spent mostly playing football, soccer, baseball. I played hockey, played a lot of hockey. And in all those sports, there's possibility of you getting hurt, and there's always a chance of you can walk down the street and get hurt. Paintball, I'm sure anybody watching this video can tell me how many times they've sprained broken wrists, twisted ankles, broken ankles. I'm actually nursing a fractured wrist right now. So that's proof from the pudding. You can get hurt playing the sport. It doesn't feel good sometimes. Even just getting shot, that doesn't feel good sometimes. But you play the game because you love it. And let's really break it down. Let's picture and I actually went ahead and I looked this up on the internet. What actions and games are considered sports throughout the world? Cricket, figure skating, curling, synchronized swimming, base jumping, cross-country skiing, yachting, badminton, and fox hunting. All of these are considered sports by both the people who play them and by the countries they are played in. Fox hunting, the act of getting on a horse, blowing a horn, going out and shooting a fox, is a sport. shooting a fox with a gun and killing it is a sport. Base jumping, jumping off of a perfectly good mountain that doesn't have any problem with you being on it, and pulling a parachute is considered a sport. I think the only defense is the ground, but what have you. Cricket, synchronized swimming, the only defense is oxygen, because you can't breathe underwater. So I think you guys are pretty much getting what I'm saying. In any way you slice it, this, for a lot of people, is more than a competition. This is both a real sport and an extreme sport. The next topic is probably going to be, should this be in the X Games? I don't know. I see a lot of things that are in the X Games, and they're a lot of fun. Like things like snowboarding and things like that. The Winter X Games are insane. The Summer X Games are outrageous. I think paintball could have a really cool place in there. The worst thing that happens is, they say no, but I think it would be worth a push to do it. But that's just my personal opinion. I hope that answers some questions for you folks. So when it really comes down to it, when someone asks me, Anthony, do you think you play a sport? I play a real sport. Play a real sport with real rules and real consequences if you get hurt. And if anybody has a problem with that, I'll come play your sport and then you come play mine. That's it. Fellas out.